Yeah, that's enough, thanks. I'm doing the Into the Woods. It's a musical theatre. I'm doing stagecraft for costume and set. So it's just my interpretation for costume and set. So beginning with the costume, at the midriff is an atmosphere adjustable corset for the actor's comfort. As musical theatre is quite, it's not. Do I keep talking? The actor portraying Red must be able to move her waist freely. The corset will be lined with canvas, also known as bodice linen, to keep the corset stiff, as well as 2 layers of bone fusing, which is kept attached to her body and will allow for easy movement, as the material will follow her waist blissfully. When entering the woods, Red must become a hunter for danger and become aware of her surroundings. I have chosen the corset to be black and of leather material, as leather is the common drapery for hunters. Black is associated with gloominess, as does the forest in which she is about to enter. As the corset appears tight, it illustrates Red being consumed by the big bad world her innocence has entered. The forest encloses and confines her as she approaches danger, and as does the corset. A corset is made to frame the body and reveal a woman's shape. The Brothers Grimm tale of Little Red Riding Hood preaches the story of coming of age into womanhood. The use of parallel matte leather sectioning across the corset emphasises the petite form of young Red's waist. Below the corset sits a porcelain white apron, which I'm wearing, which follows the Brothers Grimm design intention. The white emphasises Red's innocence and pure nature, as it directly covers her genitalia, which is an area of fragility. The white is a nice contrast against the blue skirt underneath. The skirt is a baby blue, which means communication of voice. In Into the Woods, Red uses her voice to communicate through song, I know things now, many valuable things. The skirt is toe length to cover her skin and will bear chiffon underneath to enhance volume and amenity for the actor, especially whilst dancing. It allows for leg extension without getting trapped. To reveal Red's lower status, the bottom hem is slightly torn at the seam, rugged and dirty, suggesting the skirt had been worn out over multiple times. The choice of the skirt simply pursues the typical image of Red, which is commonly interpreted. For the shirt, as pale as Red's skin, a white shirt is tucked into her corset. The shirt is very plain, with barely any symbolic detail. The simplicity of the shirt also personifies her socioeconomic status, as in the era of the narrative was placed, you were either rich or poor. Unfortunately, Red lies behind the 8 ball. The shirt is oversized for such a little girl, very loose, just resting upon Red's body. It is clearly her father's shirt. An early version of the Little Red Riding Hood describes her father as a woodcutter, spending most of his days in the forest. Woodcutters in the 19th century wore these large blouses as they allowed easy arm movement for axe swinging. Being unbound is comfortable for the actress portraying Red, especially while dancing in musical theatre. The cape is an iconic part of the costume through all versions of the story, so I have decided not to drastically change it, as audiences immediately recognise it when they think Into the Woods or Little Red Riding Hood. The cape will be a strong crimson red, inclining to purple. The red is a symbol for many things, including the innocent heart of Red herself. Further into the story, her cape attracts the vile wolf, nerving Little Red. The cape is also indicated with raised blood pressure and a pounding heart, referring to Red's innate fear of the wolf. The crimson cape appears as blood to the wolf, as she is his prey. Though for Red herself, the cape is her protector, as it swarms her body in length, though it would have to be a lightweight material so it doesn't get lost in the movement. Next slide. For the set, I would incorporate a white portable floor to be safely wheeled onto the stage between sequences and hinged so it won't shake during the scene. A hardwood floor would be appropriate, as it's a solid material, although often it may creak. So this material must be cushioned and have screws underneath so it won't creak. This is so the actor's feet won't distract from the performance itself, especially whilst galloping or dancing. The floor is white, which Little Red walks upon as if she blesses the forest with her immaculacy. The white floor also allows Red to become centre of the sequence, and this scene is a prominent stepping stone in her character development. Further into the sequence, when Red is confronted by the wolf, his shadow against the white floor will overshadow Little Red and will be very clear for the audience to see, and they'll be able to comprehend the wolf's current dominance over a naive girl. When entering the stage, Red has the possibility of coming through a cutout in the white cyclorama, which hangs at the back of the stage. The colour white mimics the idea of the portable flooring. There is a cutout at the centre where Red would walk through as she entered the forest. The transition between her cottage and forest are quite distinctive, because this time it won't be just her usual trip to Grandma's. When entering the scene, Red will face a set of stairs going down, as she becomes reduced to the darkness the forest now awaits in comparison to her comfortable cottage. The stages are followed by a faux concrete pathway which It's not on the picture, but it's just in the middle. A concrete pathway with circular patterns, which are period appropriate. I chose to include this pathway. It is a vital part of this scene, as that Red never steps off the path as she sings, "Come what may, follow the path and never stray." On the side are the trees, a set of cardboard and mache trees encircling the stage. They won't be in a linear pattern, but slightly rounded in order to confine Red in the forest as the grim closes in on her. The trees, when first entering the forest, are more lively and vibrant and green. Leaning into the woods further and further, they become twisted into vines and broken branches as she ventures into the midst of the forest. Thank you.
And all I remember dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I can do things that you cannot. You can do things that I cannot. Together, we can do great things. The future depends entirely on what each of us does every day. A movement is only people moving. No need, love, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sandra Williams. What a pleasure it is to be standing in front of all of you here today. 50 years ago, I was a naive young journalist with big dreams. That day that I arrived at Victoria River, I was a naive young journalist, and my naive opinion on the world and humanity was drastically altered. Vincent Lingari inspired me, and the events that have transpired since then have been nothing short of torturous, awe-inspiring and miraculous. Today is about all of you, your own journeys, your own fights, your own achievements. I am so proud of how far this nation has come. We still have a way to go, but just remember that from little things, big things grow. Thank you. If you're going to take a photograph, make sure to get my good side, please, James. Thank you. Hi, what's your name? Could you say that one again? Do you understand what he's saying? Do you know if anyone here speaks English? Okay. Does anyone here speak normal? The Grunge were working only off rations. When once they had the wealth of the land, the oppression each day grew tighter and tighter. The Grunge decided to make a stand. Vincent, come back. I want this story to go on the air. I'll tell my bosses. I'll make them listen to me. And if they don't, I'll get other reporters. I'll go to other stations. I'll make this happen. I'll make Australia know your story. The story's right. The story's true. And I will not ever lie to you like the promises they did not keep. And how they fenced us in like sheep. Said to us, come take their head. Set us up on mission land. Taught us to read, to write and pray. And then they took the children away. Mama! Mama, please! Don't let them take me! Mama! Mama! No! No! Please! We apologise especially for the removal of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander children from their families, their community, and their country, for the pain, suffering, and hurt of this stolen generation, their descendants, and for their families left behind. We say sorry. Yeah, love, look, I think it's great that he said sorry and all, I really do. But do you really think just an apology will cut it? Do you really think that just one apology will take away so many years of pain and hurt. Something else needs to happen. They can't just think that this is the end. Yeah, I was thinking that we should get some people together and that we can organise a rally. They shot me in the head because I dared to believe that girls had a right to an education. They thought a bullet could silence us. And Malala has won the Nobel Peace Prize. But I want people to learn from my experiences. There comes a moment where you have to decide to be silent or to stand up. On this great day, I, Prime Minister, on behalf of all Australian people, speak to you, all the people who love and honour this land that we live in. And I present you with these deeds as proof in Australian law that this land belongs to the Gurindjeri people. And I give to you a part of the land itself as a sign that this land will belong to you and to your children forever. And now we can all be mates. We want golf! We want golf! I swear, this is ridiculous. How could they get rid of him? Dismiss him? I swear they're going to regret this day when they dismiss the best Prime Minister this country will ever have. In my lifetime, there has been so much hate and so much oppression. But through all of that, there has always been people, and their love for one another always overpowers the love, the hate, and the oppression, and the memory that power and privilege cannot move a people who know where they stand, and they stand in the law. From the little things, big things grow. From the little things, big things grow.
Underneath the city lights, there is a lot few know about where rules don't apply, no. And you can't keep a good girl down. On the table, show me dancing all night. Baby, don't just come tonight. Under the spotlight, all the girls wanna fall in line. We say, here come the ladies, about to give a little show. Here come the boys, here to show a little more. Get it up, don't let you rest. Get it up, it's not a test. Get it up, gotta give me your best. Show me how you get it up, won't let you rest. Get it up, this is not a test. Get it up, gotta give me your best. Get your hands up, show me how you a little bit girls. Let's show them how it's done. It ain't over till we say, and we've only just begun. Let me hear you say, yeah!
The costume I've chosen to create is a modern 2017 approach of Little Red Riding Hood. I have continued with the traditional blood red colours, but incorporating patterns and engravings to create a more embroidered feel to the outfit. Instead of the traditional floor-length dress, I have made wide-leg, loose-fitted trouser pants to enable her to move more freely when she journeys through the woods, but also to take a more practical and realistic approach to her outfit. Taking her age into consideration, as modern day 2017, not many young girls are wearing floor-length dresses with stockings anymore. Into the Woods is performed in the style of musical theatre. The actress playing Little Red Riding Hood would need her costume to be made of lightweight material to allow dancing and acting in this high-energy performance. As musical theatre is communicating the story through the actor's humour, song, music and movement, having a costume that would allow for a fast, efficient change of movement while dancing and acting is key, as to restrict this would cause problems for the actor portraying the character effectively. The pants themselves are made of a lightweight material with the patterns of wild red roses sewn into the front and back of the pants. The use of the roses symbolises not only the innocent love Little Red Riding Hood has for her grandmother, but it also represents the wild flowers the Little Red Riding Hood encounters in the woods. This representing that even a sweet flower has a painful thorn, meaning that even a stranger will carry danger. My inspiration for this theory comes from the last few lines of I Know Things Now, where it states, "Take extra care with strangers, even flowers will have their dangers," which is just signifying how misleading and untrustworthy even the beautiful and innocent things are. Accompanying her trousers, I have a fur wrap over that'll be draped over her shoulders towards the end of the song I Know Things Now. As in the script, she makes direct reference to growing up and becoming more knowledgeable. Little Red Riding Hood says, "You can't put your faith in a cape or a hood, they won't protect you." This line is a strong basis for my inspiration, as she realised that a little thin cape will not stop bad things from happening to you, whereas if she had a thick fur coat that is straight from the evil wolf villain himself, they'll keep you warmer in the deepest, darkest parts of the woods, but also will make you look a lot tougher to any other predators she might encounter in the woods. She will have a floor-length, blood-coloured red cape that will be worn over the fur coat until she says the line, "The cape won't protect you," to show she's taking it off and leaving her mistakes behind to move forward on her journey. Once removed, she'll give it to the baker, and she'll continue out her act with the fur over her shoulders, symbolising how her mother has just skinned it once the baker leaves. Little Red Riding Hood will have a minimalistic makeup look as she is so young, with the use of copper and brown eyeshadows to create a smoky eye effect to match the wicker basket and her new brown fur coat. She'll have blushed cheeks with no blemishes showing, due to the direct reference in the skin of the wolf saying, look at that flesh skin, pink and plump, and having no imperfections due to her age. The accompanying props are the use of a wicker basket, which is related directly to the baker she borrows it from. It is small in nature, as it was never intended to carry much, anything more than bread. But it's lightweight, yet sturdy enough to carry multiple items without weighing down the movement of the monologue. It has a handle that has the flower vines woven around it as something Little Red Riding Hood has done to show her young age, but the practicality of it is to allow an easy grip and movability with the choreography of the play. The base of the basket will be covered in flour that will transfer onto her pants and her face to show she's eaten the sweets from the bakers. Inside of the basket will be a loaf of bread, the sweets from the baker's, a bottle of wine, a bouquet of fresh wild flowers from her grandmother, which all of these have made reference to from the script. Along with this, she'll be carrying a camouflage green and orange oil lantern that she'll hold in her upstage arm to guide her through the woods once the scenes get darker. Once she becomes acquainted with the wolf, direct reference to the contrast of darkness and light are made, such as home before dark, down a dark sandy path, and we were brought back into the light. Little Red Riding Hood, having this lantern, will allow her to follow her path when she enters the woods, and continuously until she leaves the wolf. The lantern will also be used at different points of the play where she needs guidance, as a thick canopy of the woods can block the lighting. The lantern is symbolic of a guiding light as well guidance through the woods, as if it was her mother's advice keeping her on the right path. But once she turns it off to stop and talk to the wolf, only darkness is around her, with no extra help or advice from her mother now. The wolf is a nocturnal animal, so when the lantern is turned off, it removes the light and creates a darker scene, awakening the wolf's true intentions. Once the wolf is later killed, with Red Riding Hood wearing his furs and new cape, she will leave the basket off stage and only continue to carry the lantern as she becomes more knowledgeable and realises she should have heeded her mother's advice. Thank you.
Would you please welcome Michelle Holman with If I Hadn't Got You as voice for music.
when time rings and some just want everything, and everything means nothing if I get kind of you. And some people search for a fountain, promises forever young. And some people need three times around, yeah. And that's the only way to prove you love them. Hands with the world on a silver platter, and what could it be? Oh, with no one to share, and no one who truly cares for me. And some people want it all, but I don't want nothing at all. If it ain't you, baby, if I got you, baby. Some people want time rings, and some just want everything, and everything means nothing if I get kind of you. Some people want it all, but I don't want nothing at all. If it ain't you, baby, if it ain't you, baby. Some people want time rings, and some just want everything, but everything means nothing if I get kind of you. Yeah. If I got you with me, baby, and nothing in this whole wide world don't mean nothing if I got you with me, baby. Am I going now?
Over the mountain, off the moon, and through the valley of the shadows. Ride, ride boldly if you seek El Dorado. I'm strong, I'm daring, I'm the fortune hunter!
Don't worry, got the cockroach. You might want to get a health inspection though. Just DB mate, a beer. Get me a beer. My precious. Where's my beer? Damn. Excuse me, thank you very much. Oh, what's the knife, mate? Oh, God. G'day. I'm here to exchange for the, oh my God, is that blood in your beard? Oh, how mysterious. Oh, you're bloody cool, aren't you? Well, I'm here so I can exchange some sort of item for the map that you have. The map. The map. The map to El Dorado. Shh. Keep it quiet. If anyone hears us, they'll want to go find the treasure too. And it's my treasure. And there's been so many people already trying to go after it.
Hello, my name's O'Connor, and me and my fellow monk friends, we travel through the land of Menos to find El Dorado, but we did not find it. Maybe it was because we didn't try hard enough? Or maybe too much. But that is okay. We will wait for other explorers to find it for themselves. Hola! Mi nombre es Gonzalo Pizarro. And me and my brother Francisco, we toppled the Incan Empire. And now we seek El Dorado. Brother, please, you have to listen to me. We've already discovered the Amazon River, and we have reached the Atlantic Ocean, but we still have not found El Dorado. Please, let us go home. Got to keep digging. If we do not keep digging, they will cut off our heads and feed them to the crocodiles, and then the conquistadors will just kill us all and the rest of our family. Oh, we have to find the gold at the bottom of Lake Villa because we just have to find it. Oh, got to keep digging.
So you see, mate, all these weirdos have one thing in common. They ain't me. And they either had their head up in the clouds or they didn't know where they were heading. But unlike me, I know exactly where I'm going. And, you know, this isn't the first time I've done something extremely awesome. You ever heard of Zanzibar? Look. Oh, Shazani jungle, more like mosquito in my jungle. Oh, God. Oh, God, I've been travelling for days and I really want something to eat. What? It's pretty good. Let's hope it isn't poisonous. What's that in the distance? It's the Pantheraurus ice, but they're supposed to be extinct due to poaching. Oh, what a bloody beautiful cat. Something's wrong with my sticky. Oh, mate, back off, you don't want to mess with me. Oh, you bloody, hi, wuss. Diego, what? You make up like a baguette and put your volcano, make it go boom boom. Good, eat. No, where are you taking me? Oh, man. They don't call it bloody magic volcano for nothing. Oh, I'm gonna get burnt like a bloody shrimp on the barbie. Get guys. I'm gonna get you, you bloody drum guys.
We put you in the volcano, make you go boom boom, you eat, and then give you to God Tafiti. Am I right?
Yeah, I said burn. It's hot in here. There must be some cannibal urges in the atmosphere. I said burn. It's hot in here. Let's roast this girl so she can get in here. Yay! Oh, God. Nah, I'm not going out like this. Not today. Okay, let's get to the outside. 1, 2, 3, with me! Mate, I've been waiting for a bloody hour for my beer. Where is it? That's it. Alright. Oh, what is that? Oh!
Pickle juice.
You weirdo. Well, anyway, back to business. This is what I have to exchange for the other half of the map. You see, it's an Atlantic jewel worth over 10 million smackers. Where'd I get it? Hello, my name's Carol. Welcome to Scuba Diving 101. Make sure you have your oxygen tank good and tied on, yeah. Oh, and because you signed a liability contract, that does mean that if you were to, die, that isn't our fault. Have a nice dive. clown, me and the fellow merfolk built this beautiful palace in order to impress the god Poseidon. And now we live here long and prosperous. What type of sea creature are you? I always feel so bad for disabled sea creatures. Well, you know what's here? You can have this lantern jewel. It'll help you live a long and prosperous life. Bloody oath. So you see, mate, I really think you'd like this jewel. But only if you give me the map. Hello? He's bloody asleep! Why do they always fall asleep when I'm telling my most amazing bloody ass stories? Ugh. Well, you're not getting away with this. I'm gonna find my map. I'm gonna find my map. I'm gonna give me my map. Give me my map. Where's my map? Found it. Just a bit of privacy, thanks. Yeah. I've got the map! You get stay asleep. I'm later. See you around. Oh, what's it? We put you back in volcano and make you go boom boom. Good eats. Yeah. Oh, you can bloody try, mate. To El Dorado!
You're broken down and tired of living life on a merry-go-round. And you can't find a fighter, but I see it in you, so we can walk it out. Move mountains, we can walk it out and move mountains. And I'll rise like the day. I'll rise unafraid. I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. And I'll rise up, I like the waves. I'll rise up, in spite of the age. I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. The silence isn't quiet, and it feels like it's getting hard to breathe. And I know you feel like dying, but I promise we would take the world to its feet. Move mountains, bring it to its feet. Move mountains. And I'll rise like the day. I'll rise unafraid. I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. All we need is hope, and for that we have each other, and for that we have each other. And we will rise, we will rise, we will rise. We'll rise. I'll rise up, rise like the day. I'll rise up, in spite of the ache. I will rise 1,000 times again.
Okay, now who the hell threw that? What did I do? What did I do? What did I do? It may only be my first day teaching your asses, but I swear I'm not afraid to hit a bitch. I will go. Let's. Okay, now. My name is Booniful Latif Halifa Sharifa Jackson. You can call me Miss B if you want, Queen if you must. Now, for my educated understanding, you are up to studying El Dorado. Okay. So, time to about your notes. You about to get taught by your boo. Okay, now, some of the most famous explorers for the city of gold are. Get your hands off of me, you know who you're speaking to. So, won't you charge for any? Stop shoving your demand respect. Oh my. Any last words? Well, dear God, I'm so sorry for offending you, for I dread the pains of hell and fear the loss of heaven, for crimes against my king, my country, and my God. I have now lost not only my son, my respect, but as well as my head. O Lord, I put my trust in you. Now, tell me, Polly, do you think I can do this? Of course you can, I believe in you! But seriously though, do you think that I, Dorian Gaylord Slavish Quinton Shagwell, can convince a man that I am drunk for political advances? Okay. The bad boy's out, okay. Does anybody have any vodka? Oh, you look like a nice young fellow. Now tell me, do you think I can perform a couple tricks for you in exchange for a surprise in the end? Oh, my bad, no, okay, if I can get my bird to say 3 things, you will give me the map to Zanzibar. Of El Dorado, you know, I know you have it. I know you have it. Now, tell me, what's what? Okay. Slay bitch, yes queen? Okay, those were 4 things. Now, tell me, what do I have to do to get the map to El Dorado? You nasty. Ooh. My, oh my. Okay, well. Ta-ta, darlings! In the beginning, Zeus made Prometheus and Pandora, both first man and first woman, to worship an ego of both holy proportions. Upon Prometheus being struck out of heaven for sins against the gods, Pandora was left all by herself, vulnerable. Some would say curiosity killed the cat. Some other people say curiosity killed the last of, well, Pandora's remaining brain cells. Now, Pandora, heed my warning if you seek treasures tenfold. Do not open the box lid. Okay. Now, I'm telling you, once again, do not open the lid. Lid, stay closed. Is that easy enough for you? Hi, my name is Pandora. Zeus calls me Pam because he thinks that's what fell on my head when I was made. But, oh well, I don't know what that means. Anyway, so since my husband got pulled away by the gods and has his liver eaten out every day by gods, you know, as punishment for stealing fire and giving it to humans, I've been here by myself looking to find, you know, my Hercules in shining armor, if you know what I mean. So, I'm just getting ready to go out on a day. I want to look so hot, they make sculptures out of me. Having me next to this really nice sculpting them, but none with the small thingies, because, you know, those are plastic. Am I right, ladies? Am I right? Anyway, so, Zeus, ooh, he said, okay. Close, forbidden, forbidden, close, close, forbidden, forbidden, close, close, forbidden, forbidden, close, close, forbidden. Okay. Elvin, come on, and have long kill without me! Ah! No! Diesel! No, this is a fishing disaster! What is this? Ah! What on earth is that? I'm so freaking pissed! All I wanted to do was look like Cameron Diaz, and here they are making me look like freaking Shrek! And now, probably for you not being stupid ones, open the forbidden box! Now, I'm not going to be going out tonight to get a guy into my box, and you know what I'm saying. Now, I've come to tell you all what I, Dorian Gaylord Shagwell, Queaton, Slavish, is, well, what can I say? The greatest expeditioner that there is. When I was a child, all I did was dream. Impossible, they would seem, but for gold and for glory. I became the hero of this story, the final of heaven's rules. My sexual appeal become one of my greatest tools. Now, I also must come to digress. It may be sad for you poor unfortunate souls to hear it, but for gold and for glory, I outsmarted all those dead dumb shits. For gold and for glory, took down the notes and followed the tips. Now these old farts will never touch a golden gleam, for El Dorado is mine, and I am its queen. Thank you.
Defines me. This is who I am. I am unseen, unheard, unwanted. That is what I am, if even I am anything. It seemed like the same thing that held me up, forced me down. And the world turned upside down, and order disappeared. Nothing was how it was supposed to be. And a heavy sadness filled my soul. I wish someone could tell me it's gonna be okay. That one day, maybe, I will know that I will always be the one. This, my past, my history, my story, is not my fault. It's not because of me. It doesn't have to be what defines my future. I am lovable. I am worthy of care. And that glimmer of light, it makes all the difference. The glimmers of light give me hope.
Is there any way you could get me out of here? Yeah.
Good afternoon, my name's Lisa and I'm here with the Daily News. USA police forces are calling him the Michael Jordan of police dogs. Yes, at only 6 years of age, this little pup has managed to sniff out 5 pounds of marijuana. And you hesitate to let me stay inside, but I think I really proved myself, right? Huh? What do you mean? I don't understand. Why are you yelling? I can put the pillow back to... Oh, stupid! I'm not stupid! Fine, I was gonna go outside anyway. Well, actually, I have a few names, you see. There's Princess, Good Girl, Cutie, Sweetie Pie, there's, there's also Shithead, Naughty, Cheeky Dog. There's also, Good for Nothing. Humans love names, don't they? Anyway, as I was saying, I really need to get out of here, y'all. I have a show to attend. My parents are high up. If y'all need a new job, I can get you one. But I ain't got no diseases. If anything, I probably got something in here. No, I ain't no Japanese toes or Chinese shih tzu. I'm just a clean white poodle, okay? And I am a 2-time winning show dog, and I've got a place to get to, goddammit. Let's just pause for a second. There's gotta be a way y'all can get me out of here. What do you want? What do you want? What do you want more than anything in the world? You want the green, blue, red? You want the yellow? No, you don't want the yellow. You want the red? No, you don't want the red. You want the blue. What's in front of you? What do you see in front of you? What do you see in front of you? You see a big blue ribbon. You come and you grab it and you get the ribbon. Well, where's the busy bee? You want your busy bee? Get your busy bee. Where's the busy bee? Where in the crate? It's not in here. It's not in here. It's not in the crate. I just told you that. It's not in the crate. You must have left it at the hotel. You go back to the hotel and you get her busy bee. You get the busy bee. Mommy's going to get your toy. It's going to be okay. We just had a little discussion. That's all. No, you don't look at the losers. You look at me. You don't look at those fat freaks. You look at me. Oh. This takes about 2 hours to do. Yes, you see, the pom-poms are keeping Butch's hips nice and warm from the cold water. Yeah, the hips are the important part, yes. Yes, of course. Where are we going? Where are we going? Open the door. Oh my God! Mom, what are you thinking, Moiler? Let's deliciously fruity. Bob, new shoes, Tuscan leather. I wouldn't keep those outside. Linda, new haircut. Love the short look, it suits you. Trudy! Oh, Trudy, someone's upset today. Come on, Trudy. Why are you so sad, Trudy? Sad lips, tilted head, frowning face. You're not happy. Does someone need a... Hey, Trudy. Oh, you need more cuddles. Here you go, Trudy. Yeah, that's it, Trudy. You're feeling heaps better now. Yeah, pick up that ball. Let's go play fetch. Yes. Yes, darling, pose for me. I want to see that tail wag. Oh, look at the pouch. You can't get a pouch like that anywhere else. So hold me this time. Show me more, show me more. Oh, the tail again. Oh, I'm loving it. Yeah, I'm finally arrived. It's been a while since I've been here, but Melbourne's quite the struggle to get into, huh? All right, fine. I'll do some photos. Let's go. 1, 2, 3.
My decision is to dress Little Red Riding Hood in a mid-thigh-high sweetheart cut dress to display age appropriateness as she is only young, but also comfort as she has to travel around. The garment is tightly fitting, however loose below the waist to further display practicality for a young child's adventures. The colour of the dress is white, which is emblematic of her purity, innocence, and positive personality in her characters. She strongly portrays her moral belief throughout the play and sees the good in everyone, is trustworthy, and believes evil is non-existent. The layout of a busy, infinite curly pattern on the dress mimics the winding, seemingly never-ending pathway in her journey through the woods. The cape is worn over the top of the dress to mirror her original traditional signature cape, however it is dark green to integrate the texture of the tree's greenery whilst including the repetitive element of nature in her costume. I believe that the colour red is minimally representative of Little Red as it represents maturity and aggression, which are many qualities of Wolf holds. This is why I've chosen to incorporate splashes of red. Furthermore, the dark green represents nature, freshness and harmony, which is more symbolic of Little Red's characteristics. The golden stripe of the fabric outlining the cape subtly enhances the wealth of her high socio-economic status and upper-class parents that she minimally inherits. The cape is made out of silk, which was known to be a luxurious and expensive material, much symbolic of her wealthy parents. White lace ankle socks with frills around the ankles is worn in order to once again display her innocence, youthfulness, and is a colour representing purity, light, and innocence. Black, simple flat shoes are worn to underdress her outfit. Both have a simple bow at the front to complement and match the red bow in her hair, as young kids usually wear matching accessories. They also complement her age and provide comfort as she has to travel by foot through the harsh environments. I also contrasted the black shoes and white socks in order to emphasise the white socks and to make her look respectably dressed up as her family are of upper class. I intend to use a primer base to ensure that the makeup sticks to her face and lasts for the entire performance. I will also apply a high coverage foundation which will match her natural skin colour so she doesn't appear to be wearing much makeup, trying to embody a natural look as she is still quite young. I've chosen the coverage to be high in order to cover any blemishes and discoloration. This will make my face look young and lively, depicting her young age. Also, due to the play being a musical, with bright lights constantly shining on her face, the coverage would prevent her face from being washed out. Furthermore, I chose to utilise black, brown and grey cool-toned eyeshadows, lightly dabbed and smeared randomly in small sections around her cheeks, forehead and chin to display her rough, dirty journey into the woods, as children don't necessarily stay pristine when they play outside. Heavily packed on light pink blush is used on the apples of her cheeks in order to make her look young and flush from her travels. This is also highlighted in the reference by the wolf stating, "Look at that flesh, pink and plump." Eyeshadows in neutral brown tones to create natural shadow and winged eyeliner to complement are used to emphasise her youthful appearance to the audience who may be sitting far away. The use of setting spray and translucent powders to set the makeup enables for the makeup to last the entire performance. I chose to lightly stain her lips through the use of dabbed, almost opaque, bright red lipstick in order to incorporate the signature colour of red, representing love, determination, sensitivity and anger, and danger. I have decided to distinctly leave my hair in natural curls, however tightening them further with a curling one, indicative of youthfulness. With a part straight down the middle of her head, I split the hair into 2 parts, making 2 separate, high-starting French braids, empowering her young age, but also showing neatness and class, as it would be implied that her mother plaited them for her. A few baby strands of hair are loose around the perimeter of her hairline as she has been wandering around the woods. I would finish the braids at the bottom with a simple red ribbon tied in a bow, solidifying further her young age and high class, as her mother may place it in her hair to look well-groomed and respectable. Thank you.
And although it's always cry
I shouldn't doubt myself. After all these years, he never loved me. If he had loved me, I would not be in this position. He must have loved me. After all those beautiful memories we shared. And after all, is it such a bad thing that now my work is in society for generations and generations to come? Thank you, Helen, for seeing me today. I was sorry to hear about what happened to Bertolt. As you know, we spent much time together. But I'm here to talk about my work. I have the documentation ready, and I need compensation for the years we spent together. Helen, don't say... Helen, you know that we worked together for 70% of the work that we did together was my work. How dare you! Elizabeth Hoffman, at the age of 31 in 1928, in her working life with Bertolt Brecht. Shook. Ding, shook. Shing. Oh, Bertolt. Okay. I have the script for you. It is called The Beggar's Opera. I think it is very promising. I have translated the first script for you, and I'll leave it on your desk. There's a shop, dear, and she's right here. She can't see him, she's in plain sight. He's her hero, her lover, ooh, and he stole her Magna knife. Eugene, we have to talk. You know that I need to make a living. I thought that we had a relationship. I thought that you cared. I can't believe that you're making me beg. You're making me beg. Can you pay me the money that I have earned? Oh, abusive husband. I cannot fix this lamp. After all, I'm nothing but a weak and helpless housewife. Oh, yes, I will make you a sandwich. Children. I love children. Oh, it's not good enough for you? I'll whip another one up. Cut! Act 1, come here. Okay. Have you even read the footnotes that I left for you in the script? I understand you are trying to play cliché housewife, but you must think she's not la-di-da-di-da all happy. She is a slave to abusive husband. You must think about your character. She's weak now, but she inspires others. She will succeed in life. She's not happy to be in the position that she's in right now. Pause between your lines. Think about what you were saying. Now, Act 2, come here. I know you can play abusive husband. You just got to think about your instincts. Okay, now we're going from the top. Okay. Beep, beep, beep. Einigkeit und Recht und Freiheit für das deutsche Vaterland. Nein! This poem is sympathetic to the filthy Jews! This is bad! And this play is not accurate to German culture! It is bad! It is bad! It is bad! Step right up, okay. Oh, look at this man, isn't he a fine, strapping young gentleman? Imagine this one in a uniform. So, you want adventure? You want brotherhood? You want to be a hero? You want the ladies? Well, we're gonna kill the filthy Germans. We're gonna go to war. We're gonna fight for our brotherhood. And if you want to be a part of it, you better join now. Shoot them. I said, shoot them! No. I will not do it. No! My name is Harvey Kruger. I was conscripted at the age of 16 for the German army. After I refused to kill the American soldiers, I was sentenced to death. But luckily for me, another SS officer deferred this order, and I was now a German messenger for the army. Luckily, I escaped, and then I finally got to pursue my acting career. Ironically enough, every role that I played after the war was as a German soldier. It was like I could not escape the war. It's funny, isn't it? How things have turned out. I finally have made my own play, and you died just before you even got to see it. Could always rely on you for being unreliable, couldn't I, Eugene? You hurt me, you know that. And I loved you. I always will. Yeah, I always will. But now I have to let you go. I do wish you peace, Eugene, but I also wish it for myself. That's all.
Hello, my name is Milad and I'll be doing Jane. I have chosen to display Jane Eyre in 4 dominant colours: white, green, blue and red, each symbolising their different meanings in different ways. The white on the blouse is symbolic to purity and innocence, as Jane was very young when she married and was depicted as being pure and naive. White contains an equal balance of all the colours of the spectrum, representing both the positive and negative aspects of all the colours. This is why I chose to have it on the blouse, as it is the premier colour. Its basic feature is equality and independence. This is to represent Jane's life. Throughout the whole play, Jane was always keeping her thoughts to herself until she was about to depart for boarding school. Throughout the play, we witness Jane's growth, from when she was in school till her nightmares. In many cultures, white also represents death and mourning. This was a perfect link to when Helen Burns fell sick, which eventually led to her death. Jane was mesmerised by Helen's graceful and calm aura and wanted to become a version of her. So linking the two together was a perfect way of representing Jane, as this traumatic event was what had led her to becoming so fascinated with the concept of death, a concept which she had once feared. The colour green on the skirt is symbolic to spring, the colour renewal and rebirth. Throughout Jane's early life, we come across the room where all her blood relatives died in, the red room. The colour red on the skirt, as I present today, is foreshadows and the impending unhappiness and unfortunate events that occurred throughout Jane's life. So according to many critics, the red room is symbolic as Jane being forced back into a womb in order to be reborn. So these 2 colours represent both the colour rebirth and the colour of her traumatic event. The red on the skirt not only is to represent the red room, but is also to represent the love which she had heeded from her Aunt Reed. The colour blue is to show Jane's growth throughout her life from being naive to being able to stand up for herself. I wanted to create a simple and ideal way for Jane to switch between her childhood life to her life with her husband. Jane is the main character, which meant it is difficult for her to have change, so creating this double-sided skirt, it was easy for her to switch between her characters and her socioeconomic status. The main colour in the skirt is blue, as in for her growth. The skirt has embroidered patterns of flowers representing nature, so if nature could change, so could her life. This was a direct link we witnessed the change throughout Jane's life. However, Jane was never able to forget her past. So I had chosen to create a belt from the before material from the previous skirts to represent that the past can never explode, in other words. The skirt as well as blouse is lightweight. This is to ensure the actress can move freely around the stage without worrying about sweat due to the intense lighting. Jane is to have strawberry blonde hair. This is to display that all the anger that had grown inside of her throughout the whole years. Every strand of hair is to represent the day in which every year she was oppressed inside a home where no love was given to her. This is where the makeup falls under. I wanted to create makeup that could show that no love between her or her family was given out, nor was it received. So the colour pink was her withholding all her love to herself. The back of the hair is to have one side with a twist, whilst the other with a braid. The braid representing her life, and the twist representing fate, which over time come together to form a perfect circle of her new life. I wanted to have the bun to have a hole by the middle. This was to show that even though her life is moving forward, there's still something missing. Finally, regarding back to the skirt, I wanted something that was easy for her to switch between. So I had incorporated Velcro. This was to become easy for her to switch between her past life, as mentioned before. Not only is it easy to take off, but it's also very easy to put back on in a matter of instant seconds. The blouse, however, has frills. The frills was a way to represent symbolic to the ocean. I wanted something that could link her past and her future again. So the frills was a way to interconnect between the middle, her past life and her present life, and this is all her history. Thank you.
Gonna pick up the pieces and build a Lego house. If things go wrong, we can knock it down. My 3 words have 2 meanings. There's one thing on my mind, it's all for you. It's dark and cold December, but I got you to keep me warm. If broken, I'll mend you and keep you sheltered from the storm that's raging on now. I'm out of touch, I'm out of love. I'll pick you up when you're getting down. And out of all these things I've done, I think I love you better now. I'm out of sight, I'm out of mind. I'll do it all for you in time. And out of all these things I've done, I think I love you better now. Now I'm gonna paint you by number and color you in. If things go right, we can frame it and put you on a wall. And it's so hard to say it, but I've been here before. And I surrender up my heart and swap it for yours. I'm out of touch, I'm out of love. I'll pick you up when you're getting down. And out of all these things I've done, I think I love you better now. I'm out of sight, I'm out of mind. I'll do it all for you in time. And out of all these things I've done, I think I love you better now. Don't hold me down. I think these braces are breaking, and there's more than I can take. It's dark in a cold December, but I got you to keep me warm. If broken, I'll mend you and keep you sheltered from the storm that's raging on now. I'm out of touch, I'm out of love. I'll pick you up when you're getting down. And out of all these things I've done, I think I love you better now. I'm out of sight, I'm out of mind. I'll do it all for you in time. And out of all these things I've done, I think I love you better now. I'm out of touch, I'm out of love. I'll pick you up when you're getting down. And out of all these things I've done, I think I love you better now.
Well, it's not as if my career has been without disappointments. Just like your life, Sonia. I've suffered too. I mean, I'm a movie star, but am I known as a classical actress on the stage? Exactly. That's a path I didn't get to take. When that famous acting teacher was going to cast me as Masha in Three Sisters, imagine how wonderful I would have been. Oh, my sisters, let's go to Moscow. To Moscow, let us go. I would have said that with an ache in my voice and my soul, and it would have been heartbreaking. I feel the public doesn't know how heartbreaking I can be. Oh, missed opportunities. Regret, regret, regret. Please, don't change your focus to yourself, Sonia. I'm talking now, you can talk later. At 4:30. Anyway, that famous acting teacher said I was born to play the classics. And that once I did Three Sisters, I would have one classical triumph after another. I'd be the American Judi Dench. But I had to do that movie about the nymphomaniac serial killer. It was a terrible script, but I was so good in it that it became this enormous hit. And of course, we made 5 of them eventually. Did you see all of them? Oh, darling, sensitive, tedious Sonia. You can't face life, can you? No, don't answer. You can talk at 4:30. That's my nap time. I'm kidding. 4:30 is a cocktail hour, half an hour early. I usually have a Black Russian and a drink as well. I'm sorry, I'm amusing myself. Anyway, that movie, Sexy Killer, really changed my life. It took me from being a respected actress to being a global celebrity. And there was a difference. Fame, thou glittering bauble. Who said that? The real Captain Hook? Fame, thou glittering bauble. Such an interesting thing for a pirate to say. And they begged me to do a sequel, and it seemed inescapable to me. We made 5 of them, and those movies paid me millions. But my point was the theater lost a great tragic classical actress when I didn't play my namesake Masha in a famous acting production of Three Sisters. That's my point. Derek Saretsky. Derek Saretsky. Maybe he wasn't famous. He was famous to me. Many years ago. I don't remember dates or decades. I just lived. I recall. I had 3 fabulous sessions with him. He taught a combination of Stanislavski and sense memory mixed with Meisner repetition technique. I'd say, "Oh, Olga, let's go to Moscow." And he'd say back to me, "Oh, Olga, let's go to Moscow." And I'd say, "Oh, Olga, let's go to Moscow." And I'd say, and he'd say, "Oh, Olga, let's go to Moscow." And I'd say, "Oh, Olga, let's go to Moscow, Olga, Moscow, Moscow, Olga, oh, Olga, let's go." I'm sorry, this is sounding incredibly false. I'm saying it. Makes one think I've been horrible in Three Sisters. Maybe I would have been. No, I would have been great. Let's not talk about that. Let's talk about something else. Sonia, what's new with you?